Hello everyone and welcome to the Sprockets Cycles YouTube channel. I am Nick from N29 Mountain Biking, and today I am on this channel to give a little kind of review, first impressions, kind of video on the Orbea Rise E-Mountain Bike, which has just been released last month, and Sprockets Cycles will be taking their first delivery of this bike this week. So they wanted me to make this little video just to kind of give you guys our first impressions and a little review on how this bike rides. If you're interested in one, feel free to contact the shop. These will be available on the website and in store. So I'm going to give you some of the technical specifications on the bike, mainly to do with the battery and the motor, and then also some of the design features of the bike, which is to do with the kind of minimal interface and things like that. And then towards the end, I'll give you my kind of brief overview of the bike and first impressions and how this whole day went. So hope you guys enjoy this, and first things first, we'll just go with the general specifications and the kind of general information that you need to know. So the kind of basic specs for this bike that you need to know, first of all, it's 29-inch wheels. It's got 150mm of travel up front, 140mm of travel in the rear. I am on the XL bike, which is exactly the same as the XL size that I ride on the Rallon, although I think this bike is ever so slightly longer in the chainstays. This bike is actually based off of the Occam, which is like the younger brother of the Rallon that I have. Really similar, but as I say, ever so slightly longer. The actual weight of the bike itself, it's possible to get it down as low as 16.5 kilograms, which is pretty insane for an e-bike. Compared to the other Orbea, the Wild FS, that is roughly 20 kilograms or so. So this thing is much lighter, and you can definitely tell as soon as we jumped on this. I kind of left it in eco mode just to see what that felt like, if you can pedal it without any of the assistance, or if eco's like okay. And it's totally manageable. I think it's definitely a bike, like if you were out on a long ride and you kind of got stranded, like you've run out of battery or something, you would be okay to pedal it back again. That kind of thing. You're not like, I'm going to have to walk. You can actually pedal this bike on its own. To get into a bit more of the specifics of the bike, one of the questions that you get asked a lot about e-bikes is like, what's the range on them and stuff like that. So this bike comes with a 360 watt main battery, which is located in the down tube. The battery itself will give you just over 4 hours of riding, but the interesting thing is you can also buy like a range extender, and that's a 252 watt hour battery itself. A little bit smaller, it's 1.4 kilograms, but it also gives you maybe like a maximum of 4 hours, depending on what mode you're in. Obviously, if it's in like eco mode, you'll get about 4,000 meters of climbing, or 8 hours of riding if you just stay in like eco mode the whole time. For this ride, I kind of stuck in eco mode for like the first third maybe. Then I switched it to the trail mode, and then later on when we switched profiles, which I'll get into in a minute once we start talking about the motor and things, I switched it to boost, like just for the end, just to kind of see how that was, and well, it's a lot of fun. Now to get into a little bit more about the motor, this is Shimano's EP8 RS motor. The RS in that stands for Rider Synergy, which is basically, it kind of comes down to like more force equals more assistance from the bike. So the bike will work harder if you work harder, which is a really odd feeling to get used to. Usually if you jump on an e-bike, you can kind of start pedaling and you get like all of the power kind of at like a low cadence. Whereas on this one, you have to actually put in a bit of effort and like bring your cadence up, and then the motor kicks in and gives you more power. So the bike is effectively working its hardest when you're working your hardest. Yeah, as I say, it's a really odd feeling to get used to. It took me like most of the day. You can have a look on my Strava if you want. The link is in the description to have a look at this ride, and you can see like my average heart rate and my peak heart rate and stuff like that, and then compare it to like another ride that I done on my normal bike, and it's pretty similar. This definitely wasn't easy, that's for sure. E-bikes aren't easy to ride around on. They just kind of make it easier to like get to where you want to go, and you know, allow you to get in like more laps if you're kind of strapped for time and that sort of thing. So yeah, it was definitely a hard day. We were all absolutely feeling it by the end. Really good fun though. As I was saying about the two profiles, there's like a profile 1 and profile 2. Profile 1 is more for, I think it's geared towards more like kind of fitter people, people that are like out on their bikes quite a lot and want more of a normal bike kind of feeling. in that it doesn't give you all of the power that's available from the motor. So for example, when you're in boost on profile 1, you're only getting, I think they said it was like 47 newton meters or 40 newton meters or something like that, so nowhere near like the full power. But halfway around this ride we got them switched over to profile 2 just so we could get an idea of how that felt. And the way you do that is through Shimano's E-Tube app. So you basically have to connect your phone to your bike, which is like a ridiculous thing, like through Bluetooth. Such a ridiculous sentence, you have to connect your phone to your bike. But basically you can go into the app and pretty much fully customize either of the profiles depending on like your preference. So you don't have to switch between each one, you can just set one up the way you like it and then just leave it. Or you can switch between the two depending on like what kind of ride you're doing and how much assistance you actually want through the whole thing, which I thought was really, really cool. Definitely a noticeable difference. Jumping from profile 1 to 2, the power kind of comes in a little bit more like a standard e-bike would. It's very immediate and you get like a lot of it. Really, really good for like later on in the day, as we did, because we were all starting to feel a little bit tired, and then we switched it over to profile 2, and that gave you like an extra little kick to kind of help get you home. And then to get into the general interface and kind of controls on the bike, you may notice there's not like a lot of screens and things, no kind of like dials or anything like that. That's purely because Orbea wanted it to be more bike and less E. I think that's the way the advertising thing went. More like a normal bike, so they kind of got rid of all the screens that you would get on most e-bikes, but it doesn't mean the interface that's on here can't be expanded. It does work with Shimano's current run of e-bike displays, so it's all really, really cool. But to be honest, I didn't really mind that at all. I'm not having the displays and things because I find them a little bit distracting. So this one basically features like a little black box on one of the cables, and it basically has one LED that's for the battery life. It stays green until you get to about 20% battery life remaining, and then it switches red. The other one is the mode that you're in, so it'll be blue for eco, green for trail, and yellow for boost. Which I actually found really, really useful. If you are one of those riders that likes to keep track of everything while you're riding around, the interface can also be connected to like a Garmin watch or a Garmin display. I'm not sure what models exactly. I would assume it would be some of the newer ones, so it might not work on everything. But you can basically connect it to your Garmin watch or display, as I say, and that will show you more details like what mode you're in, the exact battery level, your cadence, your range, speed, that kind of thing. And all of the data from that is then recorded in Garmin IQ, and that can be accessed at like any time. That feature only works with the Orbea Rise, by the way, so don't try and connect your Garmin watch to your current e-bike or any of the other ones, because it won't work. That only works with the Rise at the moment. So as for my overall thoughts on this bike, I've got to say I'm very impressed, not gonna lie. This is the kind of bike that's right in between like a normal bike like mine and like a full e-bike. Also because it's got a much lower weight than a normal e-bike, it jumped really well. It was really easy to kind of try and move it up onto like a highline or something like that. I think overall my general feeling towards this thing is that if I was going to be getting an e-bike, it would probably be this one. Purely just because it feels kind of the way that I would like an e-bike to feel. It doesn't feel like I'm just kind of jumping on like a magic carpet and flying away up a hill. It's like I still have to put in the effort to get the reward, and that's kind of what keeps the heart rate up, keeps it kind of enjoyable. Even though you might be like suffering going up a hill, it's kind of enjoyable because you're getting the assistance and you can kind of feel it. And then for the descending, obviously we went round most of the Black Trail, and that's not usually the kind of stuff that I ride, that kind of flatter, rocky, natural kind of stuff. But once we came around to riding like Mild Peril and like Ponduro and stuff like that, that's where I really kind of paid attention to the bike, and it really kind of made an impression because that's the sort of stuff that I ride. So yeah, overall, definite thumbs up from me. I really like this bike, not gonna lie. Super good fun. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video, got a kind of rough idea of what this bike is all about. I have been Nick from N29 Mountain Biking. You can find a link to my channel in the description. I have just posted a video pretty similar to this one, but I usually do the kind of ride vlog style kind of videos. So if you're into that kind of thing, feel free to check my channel out. Obviously I've got to say thanks to Sprockets Cycles once again for inviting me along to have a shot on this bike, and obviously, of course, to the two Orbea reps, Nick and Lee, for kind of coming along with us. Also, as I said, Sprocket Cycles are just taking their first delivery of this bike this week, so it will be available to view in store if you live locally there in Kilmarnock in Scotland. And if not, you can check it out on the website. Links and everything will be in the description down below. So yeah, I really hope you guys have enjoyed this, and I will see you in another video. Thanks very much for watching.